I gotta get this off of my chest. I was halfway through recording this very video you're watching now, and I realized I had no audio the entire time. I'm literally here with my graduation cap and my degree. This is my actual Bachelor's of Arts in here. This is my Bachelor's of Arts. And I made the most rookie mistake you can make. Let me do my opening bit that I was going to do for you guys, okay? Okay, thank you. It is such an honor to be graduating as valedictorian of class of 2025 from the School of Lawyers, by lawyers, for lawyers. Thank you so much. It is such a privilege, and happy graduation. That's a reference to my last video. If you know, you know. Hello, my fellow yappers. Hello. Hello. I'm probably going to keep in the first part about me not keeping the audio if my vibes are off. If my vibes are off, if I'm a little crash out heavy, it's because of the fact that I filmed half of this video with no audio. Yay! So, today, in honor of grad season, all the seniors that are walking the stage, finally getting rid of all those assignments, weighing them down, I have come in to talk about a topic that has been tickling my noggin, tickling my brain, if you will, for quite some time. Because in case you didn't know this about me, I am a college graduate, first gen baby, but I am a college graduate, but I did finish my school time in December, and since my school, Brooklyn College, doesn't have a winter ceremony, I just walked the stage literally a couple of days ago, if you must know. Here is that. Hold on. Here's me walking the stage. So there's Mike. That's so nice. Who are you? That's my friend right there. That's my leader. Look how fun and amazing I was. My friend was cheering me on really loudly. And you may be seeing this right here. The rain did ruin my cap decoration, so I will show you a picture of what my cap decoration looked like before it was rained on. I wanted to hop on here and just talk about post-grad life. I have been a post-grad girly for around 5 to 6 months, and I have some sense to chip in. I have some things to say. I want to preface this video by saying that this is not meant to rain on anyone's parade, shit on anybody who just graduated, because honestly it is such an accomplishment in itself. Especially as a first gen, I understand that. Like, it's such a huge moment in someone's life. It's such a proud achievement. So congratulations to all the graduates of the class of 2025. Muchos besos, muchos besos. However, I will say, like everything in life, there's going to be a bad side, a harsher side. Just like in college itself, it's great you're in college. You're pursuing what you're passionate about, hopefully. You are meeting people that are going to help you advance in life, hopefully. But there's also the downside of the extreme stress and the burnout. The burnout I experienced in college was absolutely bonkers. Now, I have been considering going back. I have been considering going back for a master's. But we'll get to that later because that's significant. But moving on, let's yap about why post-grad life is not for the weak. So in preparation for this video, I did ask my friends in like my group chats. I was like, hey, what's been the hardest part of post-grad life? And we got some good answers, so I'll be sprinkling those through based on my friends' responses and just like my own experience. I've split this video and all the post-grad moments into 5 categories. The 5 categories that I have split this topic into: the job market, breaking into your respective industries, discovering yourself, lack of direction, and imposter syndrome. Love those. We love that so much. Yay! So let's start with the most obvious one, the job market. I feel like the job market and how piss poor it is like kind of everyone's first thought when they think of the difficulties and challenges of high school football. Sorry, the difficulties and challenges of post-grad life. I don't want to dwell on it too much because it is like the most obvious thing. It's really not anything that hasn't been talked about. I am unemployed right now myself, and I find that it is extremely difficult to break into this job market. Not even just like the industry that you want to be in, period, just like the job market period, getting a job is so difficult, even though you have the experience, even if you don't have experience, like finding a very minimum wage job, like a retail store. And I don't want it to come across like, oh, retail stores are like, I'm not trying to talk down, because I'm a retail baby down, okay? But there's a lot of retail jobs that are just minimum wage. You get the job because you need a job and you need some money. And even those jobs are kind of hard to break into, and those jobs come with their own challenges and difficulties, and to even like interview and get in. A lot of times jobs will literally just like look at your application and either ghost you completely, or they'll take 20 years to get back to you, and by then you already have a different opportunity, hopefully, fingers crossed. Qualifications don't even matter. Qualifications don't matter, because there be these entry-level shits, like entry-level, you don't really need much. And even though every single thing on your resume aligns with the actual responsibilities of the job, it's still a wonder that we don't get the jobs. You can literally have everything you need, and for some reason you're just not the one to go with. And maybe I'm projecting, but no, I'm not, because everyone says the same thing. Everyone says the same thing. It's ridiculous. I'm like convinced, I am partially convinced that a bunch of these job listings are just fake. Like, they're just fake. Because what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? So the next part of all of this, the next aspect of post-grad life that is very difficult, is breaking into respective industries. Now, let me tell you guys this. I want to break into the production industry. I want to do TV production. I want to make my own TV shows. It's a dream of mine. It's been a dream of mine for a couple of years now. I want to move to California. I want to do it all, okay? Breaking into that industry has almost broken me. There's this person I went to school with, and every single time, almost every single time I open LinkedIn, she is getting a new achievement, a new accomplishment, a new award. And she's in the same industry as me. She's the same major as me. I had classes with her, and I quite literally lose my mind. I literally just, like, every time I open LinkedIn, and it's such a, but either way, actually, there's this creator, Advice with Erin, okay? Advice with Erin, and she said 3 things no one tells you about life after graduation. And I saw this and I saved it because I knew I was gonna make this video. And she mentioned the great scattering. Up until you graduate school, your peers are on the same timeline as you, but when you graduate, everyone scatters. Some may move to new cities, countries, and continents, and you spent your whole life comparing yourself to your peers, and you'll continue to do so. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You see everyone. I'm getting off track. Breaking into your respective industries, no matter what industry it is, can be extremely difficult, because what they don't tell you until like the middle of your time in college, like in the middle of your time getting your degree, is that it's really not about the degree itself. It's about what you do while you're trying to get it. It's about what you do during that time. So networking, you have to go to all these internship events and try to get an internship even though you have no experience. And a lot of the internships that be wanting to get with you, a lot of the internships want people who have already graduated, but these internships don't accept people who have recently graduated, because a lot of people who have recently graduated don't have any experience. So I'm a little crash out heavy, you guys, but it's okay. It's okay. We're fine. We're fine. The degree itself, this is actually where I'm going to read one of my friend's texts. The degree itself really doesn't matter. Like, when you get the degree, yes, it helps that you studied it, and now they know you've taken some classes on it. Granted, yes, but also they do not care. For some reason, it feels like I went through all of these classes, all of these assignments, all of these prerequisites, all these hours editing, doing this, doing that, and it doesn't even seem like the employers care. So when I try to break into the industry, I know I need employed experience, but no one wants to give it to me. And so then now I have to work on creating my own portfolio. But what if you don't have, I'm very privileged to have this camera that I have right now, because I got it through a grant that I got in school. Because I was looking for resources, and even then, they don't even tell you about a lot of the resources. That's a problem with CUNY in its sense. CUNY is like, I went to, my first school I ever went to was New Paltz, okay? I went to New Paltz, and it was great, and they were like very like vocal about like a lot of the networking, and that stuff. But in CUNY, I transferred to CUNY, you guys, and I was like, hold the phone. I was like, hold the phone. Where is everybody? literally, where is everybody? I did not know who my advisor was until like I went on like campus, and like I had to learn how to enroll in classes all by myself. Now, I mentioned this, shameless plug, in my documentary in the 4-year race. It's kind of talking about how you're kind of rushed to graduate and rushed to finish in 4 years. They make it kind of virtually impossible to do so, but it's like, it also touches on the fact that you're kind of on your own in college, especially in the CUNY system, is which I find. Like, when you're in college and you're pursuing this path that you're like, I want to do this, I want to do this. Also, if you're online, then you're basically screwed, because so many of these events are in person. And so either way, a lot of these events require a lot of networking. And with networking, it's such a transactional relationship that you hold with this person, because it's very much like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. And that being said, you're also kind of meant to act as if it isn't a transactional relationship. I would rather be like, hey, this industry is tough, keep me in mind if you see anything. But no, I have to pitch myself. I have to make it seem like, and yes, pitching yourself is very like normal. You have to pitch yourself, because why are you a better candidate than this other person? Why should I keep you in mind and not this other person? That's fine and dandy, but I also don't want to sit here and act like I don't know what we're doing here. Networking is literally just like the bane of my existence, and I'm trying to get better at it. I really am, but it really just comes across as like, it's like a family member that you haven't spoken to in a long time asking you for money. That's what networking feels like for me. But nonetheless, and I will say, you're supposed to do all of this meanwhile taking 5 classes. Like, or they say minimum 5 classes to do full time, and if you do part time, then sure. But there's also there's so many students that work. For example, I went to my bestie's graduation. She graduated from Arizona State University, and we went to Arizona for her ceremony. And they were trying to like honor a bunch of the students. They were like, oh, if you were a student that graduated with a 3.5 GPA, stand up, and so we can honor you and celebrate you. And they were doing that with a bunch of like, oh, if you lived on campus, if you did school online, stand up. And at one point they said, if you were working while in school, stand up. Almost everybody stood up. I would have stand up. Yeah, I would have stood up if I was down there with them with my cap and gown, okay? I would have done the same thing, because I had to work while I was in school. A lot of students work. A lot of students have so many more commitments, and I feel like we always commend students for how hard they work while in school, yet we punish them at the same time by having so many events that are, yes, they're in person and whatnot, but like, it's just a lot of upkeep. And I get it, we're adults. But we're also like fresh babies. We're fresh adult babies. And I know that sounds like so infantilizing. It really isn't meaning to be that way, but it's also just trying to come from a perspective of compassion. I'm really just trying to have a lot of compassion for other students, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have so much on your plate and still feeling you have to do more, so that your post-grad life can be that much easier, even though it is still going to be incredibly difficult. Or who knows, maybe it won't. But whatever. A lot of the work you do in college and even post-college, it's like, with this job market and just with how competitive, especially in the industry I'm trying to get into, or I'm trying to manifest. In this industry, it's extremely competitive. And so even that can't even get you a foot in the door. Like an internship can't even get you a foot in the door. It's more like a toe in the door. Because then there's always the pressure, which is gonna kind of lead into my next point. There's always the pressure of talking to the people around you, networking with them as well, maintaining good relationships with them as well, which is like, it's fine in its own regard, maintain good relationships with people around you, duh. So like, you never know who you can meet, but it's also like, it's a lot to juggle. And I feel like we should have more compassion. I feel like we shouldn't, just because the standard, just because the precedent that's been set is like, oh, you have to grind, you have to do that we should just accept it without questioning it. Now, before we move on, let's read some very important points that my friends made. One of my friends said, you can do everything right during college and still end up jobless. It all comes down to the right place, right time. Perfectly said. Thank you so much. When I asked what's the hardest part, one of my friends said, as a not fully post-grad, because she had recently graduated, it's definitely not having a job in the field I graduated from. My other friend said this, and and I want to give her some light because she kind of cooked. I think my case is different since I transitioned to becoming fully independent during my last year in college. However, I would say alongside the frontal lobe development, it's realizing that my degree doesn't mean all that much in the real world. While I am grateful to have a degree, I have seen firsthand that there's so much opportunity to make a name and a living for yourself without it. My friend, she doesn't work in the same industry that she got her degree in, and she's made a pretty good name for herself in that industry that she's working in, and she didn't really need a degree. And I'm not saying drop out of college. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. Because in my personal opinion, I feel like college is such a beneficial time for your life that it really isn't about the degree. It's really, again, like I said before, what you do during your time getting that degree. So that being said, I really liked that point of like you can live a life without it. You can live a life without your degree, sure, or without using your degree. But it's still nice to have, because at the end of the day, the journey to get it teaches you a lot more than actually having it. I'm going to use this text from the same person because she was cooking. I'm going to use the same text from this person where she says, realizing that I need to really assess what matters to me in life and what I value outside of my potential career and education. Our social climate tells us what we need to do is hustle in this rat race to be successful. But is that really all success is, you know? So this leads me to my next point of point C, I guess they're lettered now. Discovering yourself. You're on your own for the first time officially. You are officially done with school if you took the traditional route of doing high school, then immediately after going to college, and then just finishing those four years, however long it takes you, okay? Now, that being said, you have now such an opportunity to really learn who you are outside of these extreme conditions like college and work at the same time. Yes, if you find a job right after college, even if it's a job that doesn't have to do with your industry, you're still working, you're still doing that, but there's still so much time now in your hands and opportunity to really get to know yourself. You are so limited in college. You are so encouraged to like hyper focus on one track, so you can declare what your major is and declare what you're getting your degree in. And you know, you do that, you get the class, the majority of your classes are all going to be about that specific major, and then whatever else is like just an elective, you just learn about that on the side. And that being said, that's really a very linear way of thinking. It doesn't really encourage for you to branch out too much, especially if your college doesn't have all that many course offerings. Now that you're out, you really do get to learn more about yourself. But on the flip side, it is extremely overwhelming because the same way you have all the time in the world, you have all the time in the world and you do not know what to do with it. You are constantly reminded and aware of how everyone else is going in their life because you have all these connections now, you have all this networking to do, you have all this LinkedIn notifications popping up, you have all these people around you telling you, oh, look at me, I'm doing great, or look at me, I'm starting this, or I'm going to do this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And you see all these people around you and it's so easy to compare yourselves to them, which I know it sounds a lot like we're talking about imposter syndrome. That's going to come up later, I promise. But here's my thing, it is extremely overwhelming to try to figure out, what did I just waste the last 4 years of my life? Which is a scary thought to have. Because listen, when I was in college, when I was finishing up my degree, I was like my last 2 semesters, I realized I really loved writing conducting communication research. And the professor that I had, shout out to her, I love her down. The professor that I have made communication that much more fun. It was a lot more, it was great. And I was like, oh my God, do I really like want to pursue communication now? And a part of me felt like the only way I can pursue something I was passionate about was doing it through school. And now I'm out of school and I've kind of fallen off from doing anything regarding communication methods because I don't even know how. I'm struggling enough to break into the production industry, let alone an industry I've spent little to no time actually researching. All I'm trying to say in that regard is that you learn a lot more about yourself, but you also really have to figure out what to do with it. If you have to, you're kind of always faced with the challenge of like, do I make this into a career? Do I monetize off of this? Do I make this into something that I want to do full time? Learning about yourself is really challenging at times, because it's great. You have the opportunity to really get to know who you are because we're like fresh adult babies, like I said. Moral of the story, when you spent your whole time pursuing one path of your major, your interest, what you want to do, when all these other paths open up, you almost feel like spoiled with choice. You do not know which direction to go in, and you don't even know if it's going to be the right one. So let's wrap this section up with some more anecdotes from my dear friends. Perfect example. It can be tumultuous mentally, feeling that you may not have been on the right path for yourself, or may not be on the right path for yourself. The stress of figuring out a job, or even figuring out if what you study is actually what you want to do for the rest of your life, hits too. Another friend of mine said, I don't have anything for hardest thing per se about post-grad life, but being out here is helping me realize lifelong goals that I want to achieve, which is a great thing. We're not even going to always focus on the negative, we're just mostly focusing on the negative, you know? Post-grad is a good time to just ground yourself and try things out, what works for you and what doesn't, says another friend of mine. And this one right here is going to be my transition into the next point of my whole spiel. Starting your career, fighting the temptations to not go with an easy way out or diverting from your career path because something else comes up. Finding the next direction. Lack of direction. This kind of also ties in with discovering yourself, but this one is a little bit more in terms of structure, in my opinion. And from what my friends have said, you don't really know where to go. You don't really know how, for a lot of people, you don't really know how to break into the industry that you want to get into. You don't really know if you want to change something up, how to do that. There's not really any like courses on that, and even then you kind of strive for academic validation, which is a very real thing that I have learned. That I thrived in school. I did a really good job. I graduated with honors, and I'm not even gonna be like, oh, let me not brag. No, I'm bragging. That's hard. Okay, I was very like pedal to the metal. I was dedicating myself because I really loved doing the act of school, but I also really liked the academic validation of it all, where I basically loved seeing the good grades for my hard work. And once that kind of leaves, you're just like, oh, where do I get it from now? And so it's kind of like a weird type of drug of academic validation. And the thing is, you're so used to having a curriculum. Is it a curriculum, or is it like a pathway, let's just call it, on what steps you need to take to complete your degree requirements. And once that's done, no one tells you where to go, and it's all up to you. And that can be very difficult, especially if you have your mind set on a specific dream. You don't really know how to get there, but you know you want to get there. It's a lot of lack of direction. It's a lot of like, you go from this very busy schedule of someone always telling you where to go, what to do, how to do it, what your requirements are for completing to get a good grade and whatnot, and then that suddenly all goes away and it is all up to you. And this whole video is not to say like, oh, you're completely on your own, you're fucked, you're screwed, you're bye. No, it's not saying, that's not what I'm trying to say at all. What I'm trying to say though is that feeling seeps in, and especially when you keep comparing yourself to people around you, especially when there's people around you that are doing better, that you automatically assume like, oh, they didn't have to ask for help, I do. It's very easy to get into your own head when you graduate college. It's very, very easy. But that being said, let's read some anecdotes, guys. Let's read some anecdotes. Finding yourself again after a lifetime of going through the education system that keeps telling you what to do on paper but no proper guidance in the real world. You also got to realize that at some point you have to sacrifice your career growth to grow in life. I think two things. One is that I put a lot of my self-worth in school, so not having classes to focus on has been hard on my self-image and motivation. Two, it's been really sad to lose the physical space of college. I miss having a place to hang out, professors to get advice from, and being around people my age. For me personally, it wasn't much of a challenge in terms of community, which is why I didn't include it, but that's also a very real thing of like kind of losing that place to always be. If you wanted to just like sit and like study somewhere, now you have to like go find a cafe, and you know what I mean? Like it's different. It's a different community. There's a sense of camaraderie in a college campus that you kind of lose because you're not there anymore. But on her first point, it's hard to motivate yourself when you don't have like that pressing deadline. It's kind of hard to motivate yourself when all your value that you like, that validation you get from school, is no longer there. We have been circling around the topic of imposter syndrome this whole video, I find, and I have quite the experience with it, and I'm finally ready. Let's get into it. Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. We're going to do the responsible thing, search it up, and get the official definition before we start speaking on it too much. Imposter syndrome, also known as imposter phenomenon or fraud syndrome, is a psychological experience that causes people to doubt their skills and successes. It's characterized by a persistent feeling of inadequacy and the belief that success is undeserved, even when evidence suggests otherwise. People with imposter syndrome may attribute their accomplishments to luck or external factors and fear being exposed as a fraud. I'm going to tell you guys a quick little story. I went went out to a bar one day and I met this woman. I'll call her Tracy. You can't stop an avalanche as it races down the hill. And I was talking to me and I was like, oh yeah, I recently graduated. And she's like, oh, where'd you graduate from? And I'm like, oh, I graduated from here and I got my degree in this. And she asked me a very simple, innocent question. She said, oh, what have you been doing to, you know, get into the industry? Face crack, girl. I kind of scrambled to answer. Now mind you, I know I said I was at a bar, but this time I was completely sober. I was sober at this bar miss thing, and I was just like, oh yeah, I've just been applying to places. Really, I have a YouTube channel. And I was just like kind of scrambling, and she planted a seed that day where I was spiraling for the next couple of days. And I still kind of am, was spiraling. I'm like, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything to break into the industry. I have been doing such a piss poor job. I've been doing this, that, and the third. I've been doing, and I was starting to legitimately panic. I was legitimately panicking and kind of beating myself up on how I've lacked in this industry and how I haven't been doing anything. Mind you, look where we are right now. Really was just panicking. I have to hold her, she gives me comfort, but I was really just panicking a whole lot because I genuinely felt like I wasn't doing enough. It begs the question, what is enough? And that's where we go back to the comparisons. It is constantly feeling like you are not doing enough, despite the fact that it is such an achievement to graduate, but the freaking payoff makes it feel like it's not enough. And that's my biggest problem here. The payoff you get from getting one of these, it literally feels like you did it all for nothing, because it does not mean as much as they make it mean. You know what I mean? I sound so ungrateful. I'm fully aware of what I need you guys to understand. I didn't think I would make it to my college graduation in more ways than one. All of my siblings would be like, oh, we dropped out. Oh, we dropped out. We didn't finish. And I was like, well, I'm destined to meet that same fate. And to not meet that same fate, it's beautiful to me. But what I will say is that there is a heavy sense of imposter syndrome that comes with it, because you are no longer getting that pat on the back of an A or a good grade. You're no longer getting that validation that your work, that your efforts are enough. You just have to trust that they are, or put them elsewhere to see the fruits of your labor. That is overall my point. Post-grad life is not for the weak. For you have to have a lot of trust in yourself that not only is everything going to be okay, but you're going to find your way, because it is so hard out here with everybody trying their best. When are you done? When are you finished? When are you officially over with hustling? When does that end? Because once you're in a job that you care about, there's always going to be that next step up the ladder. There's always going to be, oh, this promotion, depending on where you are in life and like in your job. And like that can be fulfilling for you. Don't get me wrong. However, I'm just saying there's always going to be a next thing that you can do. Hustle culture is insatiable. It's never going to be enough. So it's up to us, and it sounds so corny. I'm just saying that to say, post-grad life is hard. It's not all just, I'm free, because it is. You are free, but that freedom comes at a cost. And I wish everyone else luck who might have related to this video. It's unfortunate that this video is relatable to the post-gradies out there. Honestly, it's very much like, it's a real truth. It's a real truth that it's difficult. It is overwhelming. It is completely and utterly sometimes crippling, because you just feel like you're not doing enough. But like, I've had that feeling for a long time. I haven't even been graduated for a year. I walked the stage a couple days ago. You know, that's not enough time. Think of what you can do in 6 months. You can do a lot, but can you do enough? Thank you so much for watching if you've reached this point in the video. I am very passionate about this topic because it's something that's been weighing heavy on me, because I feel like a weird sense of like, I have to be grateful, I have to be happy, I have to enjoy my life no matter how difficult it is, because at least I have my degree, at least I finished, at least I reached this point. In that sense, it's also like you kind of deny those feelings, and when you deny your feelings, it only makes it harder to feel them, obviously. If I were to give any advice to anyone who is finishing a degree, still in like the midst of school, I would say honestly just be compassionate with yourself. I'm not gonna, I sound like Cassie in that one scene of Euphoria right before Rue tells Maddie that Cassie's been fucking Nate Jacobs.
You don't have to. Just take it one day at a time.
I want to say try to meet new people on campus. It's gonna be harder to meet new people. Try new things, don't limit yourself. You are unlimited. And it's all corny, I know, it's so corny, but it's fine, because I think we need some corny right now. We need something cheesy, we need something sweet and cute, because it's hard out here, okay? Alas, thank you so much for watching, my lovelies. You already know a nail check is coming. So these were for my graduation and for my friend's graduation. There you go. There you go. So these are my nails. We did like some brown and red, as you can see, the blues and things like that. I really liked it. I really like them. You know my nail tech. I'm not gonna keep sharing it at this point. No, I'm gonna keep sharing. I'm gonna shout out my girl until I can't shout her out no more. I mentioned this in my first take of this video, but my Ariana video, my video of ranking every single Ariana Grande song, is almost at 1,000 views. It recently passed 900 a couple days ago, and I am eternally grateful. Eternal sunshine, but I'm eternally grateful. As I'm editing this video, literally today, June 3rd, sorry, now you guys know how long it takes me. It hit over 1,000 views. So thank you, my beautiful fellow yappers. I am currently cooking up my next longer form video. It is going to take a while to come out, but alas, thank you so much for my first video to ever hit 1,000 views. Thank you. Genuinely so happy, because I just started my YouTube channel a couple months ago, and to see this kind of, you know, feedback in a sense, or this kind of response is I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I love doing YouTube so much. It's so much fun for me. I love when people comment, because it's like I get to talk with people directly, because I'm just talking to a camera, and you guys will comment based on what I said already. But having real life conversations, it's very thrilling and fun for me. So thank you. But on that note, bye my fellow yappers, and I will see you in the next one.